we have been talking about stress, the nature of stress, the categories and pattern of stress, right? And stress is relevant to the mode of timing, right? The length. So this timing and length is quite important. This related to the nature of languages even, right? Because on the basis of the mode of timing, we divide languages into two types, right? And remember that the classification of languages is on the basis of the mode of timings, right? Modes of timing. And those are the stress time languages and the syllable time languages, right? As it is clear from the names that within stress time languages, the focus is on the stress timing, right? And then within syllable time languages, the focus is on the time given to one syllable, right? So that's the division of languages at broader level. So we would talk about the stress time languages in this session. Stress as syllabic time languages versus syllable time languages. Within stress languages, we are focusing on the pattern of stresses, right? That how the stress is, placed on various syllables, various words, right? At lexical level, at various syllables, and then at sentence level, at various words, right? So that's the important point, that how stress is applied. What's the function of stress in order to create rhythm within a language? Stress time languages have stress as the dominating factor, right, for their rhythmic feature, because they create rhythm on the basis of the stress pattern, right? And these languages seem to be timed so variable in stress, right? Because the stress is something which is the fundamental part of the rhythm for those languages, right? And they create that rhythm and intonation at sentence level on the basis of stress, right? So that's an important discussion. And the stress syllables, they actually fall in stress time languages with regular intervals, right? Like, for example, if 3 syllables are left unstressed, the next one is stressed, right? Or in words like one is stressed, the second is unstressed. Then stressed, the second is unstressed, right? The patterns may be different, like trochaic or iambic. Iambic when you start with unstressed, trochaic when you start with stress, right? But the pattern is maintained. And that pattern is really important within stress time languages. Stress time languages, they have units of timing perceived, right? They actually just approximately, they maintain a regular pattern of stresses, right? And then you can predict within stress time languages for the stresses where to fall, right? Like you can predict that the stress would fall on the penultimate syllable in longer words, right? Penultimate, the last one. So there is a pattern, and that pattern is followed, right? And then, like you also know that the function words are not to be stressed always, and the stress would fall on the content words. So what we are actually discussing in these sentences, we are discussing that there is a pattern which is falling with the regular intervals, and we predict that a specific pattern regarding the stress unstress patterns would be just applied by the language. The stress unstress contrast, it goes on, and the point is regarding the long and short vowels. Within stress syllable, the vowel would be longer, and within unstress, the vowel would be shorter, right? So what is that length? The length is an important point of timing, and that's the question, that on the basis of the timing spent, or the timing which is specified for the production of various parts of the words, syllables, and then various parts of the sentence, words, by a language, that how important is that timing of length kept by those languages, right? So the vowels, they might be long, they might be short, and that might be reduced. So this factor of long short patterns and short reduced patterns. That's about the timing, about the length. And within stress time languages, this length is really important, right? And stress time languages have typical syllabic structure, right? Their syllabic structure is typical, right? They can have variant numbers of consonants, right? And the size of vowel would be quite important. And the typical languages which are stress timed, they are English and German. Since you know English, you can imagine that how is the lexical stress important in English, and then how is the emphatic stress created at sentence level, right? Same is the case with German language. And we'll discuss further about this stress time languages, the nature of stress time languages in the next session.